Salute everybody. Salute, salute, salute. I hope everybody is having a good day thus far, especially a great St. Patrick's Day. Salute to the chat. Thank you guys for coming through. And make sure you hit that like button for me, okay? Thank you, Sonya, for becoming a new member in the last chat. Appreciate that, Jamie, Kim, Barbie. Thank you for the copyright disclaimer, sister. Appreciate you much. Hey, Samad. Hey, Shank. Salute. Time Warp, what it do, sissy? What it do? I have two very special guests to me in Shank Rock on the panel with me. These ladies have been through a lot and they're still going through a lot. They're actually fighting for justice for their babies. And I want them to give us a little bit of insight for those that missed it at Shank Rocks and stuff like that. And plus, I want to get to the mental part of it and what we can do to help these ladies more in the movement that they have going and stuff and what they're lacking with the movement from the community if they are lacking that or anything like that. First, I want to introduce Lachunda. Hey, Lachunda, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Always. Hey, Alicia, sis.
Hi, sis.
Kisses to you too. I want to start with Lachunda first. Lachunda, you want to give us a little insight of your story and the purpose of Legacies movement?
Okay, so February 2022, I gave birth to Legacy. She was my miracle baby. I didn't think I could have babies at first. So, for me to get pregnant with her so late in age, it was amazing. I was excited. She was the community miracle baby because everybody knew that I wanted to be a mother. I am a mother. I adopted two of my previous kids, and they are my babies too. But to have one of your own that came from you that you can look at and see was a different story. So everything was fine. I went into the hospital to be evaluated. I was forced into having a cesarean section. That's a whole nother story. But she came out. She was breathing. They put her in the NICU. The first 72 hours were critical. She flew through 72 hours. She even opened her eyes, and the nurse sent me pictures. Was like, she's opening her eyes, like she is like really strong, and she's a trooper. So she did really well. On the fourth day, they were going to release me from the hospital. The exact moment that I signed the paperwork for my release, they called me on my cell phone and told me to come down to the NICU. Went down to the NICU. They told me that they believed she had had an infection and that they wanted to start antibiotics and so on, which I, of course, agreed. I wanted to know exactly what they were going to do, and I had them assure me they were going to do everything they needed to do. I was on top of it. I was on my chart nonstop, like nonstop, because I went home. So when I went home, I was watching from home. The next morning, I went back up there to see her. Um, she
Let's
then
stop right there for a minute,
Okay.
Shonda. Let's stop right there. You said they said, I believe she has an infection. Did they ever tell you what the infection was? What caused the infection? Did you ever get any kind of medical diagnosis of what she had? Because if I'm a doctor, hey, I believe your daughter got a ear infection. Either she does or she doesn't. You're
Right.
the doctor to say I believe. So we got to start paying attention to the wording and stuff like that because this is educational, y'all, for when we go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Alicia. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, so when they initially called me downstairs, they said first that they thought that her bowel had perforated, meaning that it had tore and there was an opening in it. They said that was going to cause an infection and that she was more likely really gravely ill. And I said, "Well, do you know if there's a perforation or not?" And they said, "No." I said, "Well, until you know, we can't speak on that." And I said, "What do we do?" So he was like, he thought that she was too small for surgery. So I said, "Well, no, I want to hear from the surgeon." I literally had the surgeon come down, and the surgeon came down and he agreed. He said first he said, I'm just giving a he said he was just getting a widespread diagnosis. He said because he doesn't know either if she has a bowel perforation. He said because he doesn't have any testing saying that. He said, but he does think she's too small for surgery if there was one, that if it is one, that the antibiotics would be my best route. So they told me they were going to have a scan done for her to see, and at that point they would go from there. But in the meantime, they will start antibiotics.
So they was gonna have a scan to see if she had these problems.
Yes, they said they were going to scan first to see if that, if that was it. But in the meantime, they said that they knew that she had an infection, so they were going to start the antibiotics on top of it.
Okay. Um, what happens after? So do they do the surgery? Does she get the surgery, or does she automatically gets put on antibiotics to see if that
So,
helps before any other decision is being made?
so she automatically was put on antibiotics. Um, Automatically put her on antibiotics, and they said that antibiotic was a widespread antibiotic. So whatever it is, would most likely it would help. So they were waiting on the people to come to give her a scan to see if the bowels were perforated. I went home. I was checking my chart. She never had the scan done that day. They continued the antibiotics. The next day, there was a scan done, and there was no showing of a bowel perforated. So at that point, when I went back up
Wow.
there the next morning, I said it's not. So what is going on? They said, oh, well, we're treating her for what did they say? They're treating her for just bacteria infection, basically. So they said when babies are small, they get infection. So they just said they didn't even want to give her milk yet because of it. So they just continued the antibiotics. They said they're going to continue the antibiotic, give her blood, give her plasma, and everything else that she needed, and just monitor it.
So she never has the scan done that they said they had initially done on her to see that she had a problem.
She didn't have it done until the next day.
Oh,
Yeah, she didn't have it done until the very next day. And when she had it done the next day, it showed that she did not have a perforated bowel.
wow. So now we're coming up with another diagnosis.
Right,
Now she has a bacterial infection. Okay,
right.
going from the bacterial infection, okay, we're on the antibiotics. How's Legacy's health at this point? They started on the antibiotics, so it should be helping, correct?
Yes, it should be helping. When I went to see her that day, she, to me, she looked different. She just looked different. She was moved in another place, and I chopped it up to the lighting in the room because I felt like she looked darker than she usually did.
Mm-hmm.
But I chopped it up to the lighting in the room because she was in a whole different area too. She was not in the same place she had been in the whole time. So,
Mm,
and I couldn't stay long because they had something going on where they needed everybody to clear out. So I couldn't stay long. So I was only there for a matter of minutes and then I left. I had a cesarean, like I said from the beginning. So a long standing and things like that, was hard for me. So I left and went home and continued monitoring and calling. I called all the time and continued monitoring and calling from home that day. They called me. I'm gonna back up. The first night that I got home, they called me about 9:30 ish, and said, "Oh, Legacy is really sick. She may not make it through the night." And I
mm,
said, "What?" I said, "Legacy is gonna make it through the night." And so they was like, "Okay." They hung up. Legacy made it through the night. I got a text message the next morning from one of the nurses from the labor and delivery room. Legacy was really popular, needless I say, in the NICU because of her name for one, and because I gave them the business upstairs before having her because I didn't want to have her that early.
mm-hmm.
So a lot of nurses was checking on her. So one of the traveling nurses there, she texted me that morning, the second morning that I was home, and she said, Legacy's here and she looks beautiful. She's doing amazing. So again, I'm going by what I'm being told. So when I went that second night I was at home, they called me back again the same time the next night and said, "Oh, Legacy is not doing well. She may not make it through the night." I said, "Please stop calling me every night with this, please." I
Wow.
said, I believe in God, and my daughter's going to be fine." They called me back maybe 10 minutes later and said she had passed. And I said, "What do you mean she's passed? I just looked at her my chart. She was fine. Like, what do you mean she's passed?" And they said that they tried to resuscitate, but she didn't respond to anything, and that she had passed. So they asked me, was I coming up there? And I said, I'm trying to digest everything. I just had a cesarean. I can't drive. I was like, I'll be up there in the morning. Because in my head, I'm listening to who I trust. I put my trust in, right? The doctors.
Mhm.
They said she passed. Okay, it's nothing I can do that night from what I'm looking at. So I said I will come the next morning. So the next morning I did. I was
Let
there
me let
bright
me
and
ask you something. Hold on, Lashonda. Let me. So you're checking her mind chart. Um, Even the night before when this nurse or whoever called you and said she might not make it, was that in the chart?
there was no, I'm glad you asked that. There were no notations in the chart saying that she was in any kind of danger of passing. Not that night nor the night before.
Wow.
I checked when I was on the phone with the doctor. I immediately, as soon as I hung up with the doctor, I immediately grabbed my cell phone to check the my chart. Then when I went to check the my chart, this is within minutes, like literally, it couldn't have been 5 minutes. It was completely wiped clean. Her picture was gone off of my my chart. Her
Oh
name was
wow.
gone. I could not see a folder or file, nothing on her. It was like she had never existed.
That's scary, Shonda. That's so scary. Did it ever come back up, or it was just like that? Go ahead,
No,
finish your
and
story.
I haven't seen it since. I've
Wow.
not seen it since. And the next morning I stated the same thing. I said, I can't see her my chart. Nobody said anything.
Wow.
So when I got there, I got to the hospital the next morning. Me and two of my closest friends, they're like sisters to me. Two of my closest friends went. We sat, we sat for hours, for at least 2 hours, waiting on them to let us see Legacy.
Wow.
There was this beautiful room surrounded by windows that they first had us sitting in the waiting area. Then they put us in this room because they kept hounding me about the funeral home I was going to pick her up, and I'm not from Charlotte. So I didn't know. I said I had to talk to her father, and I'll let them know. So they was like, "Oh, we need you to sign paperwork, da 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 da." So I'm just like, "Okay, like when are we going to see her?" So finally, after waiting almost 2 hours, it had to be good 2 hours. We finally got a nurse came and said, follow her. So we followed her. We went through the double doors. We went to the back. We turned left. Made another left, and it was a door there. It was literally a closet, a storage closet. There was it was three walls, and then the wall that the door is on. The back wall had shelving. The side wall to the right had shelving. Behind the left wall had like stuff piled up, and then there was two chairs sitting like in front of the pile, and then there was a cart like when you're released, you know how to give you a cart to put all the stuff on. It
Yeah.
was a cart in there with it's a boy on it and balloons and stuff. And so I'm looking, it's dark, it's no window, it's no nothing, no light, no nothing. And I'm looking, and then the nurse was like, "Oh, let me try to get one more chair in here. We're gonna have to squeeze tight to get one more chair in here." And so she brought another chair, and she like everybody was like trying to scoot over to like we're literally trying to maneuver in a closet. And
So
so
Shonda, let me ask you something. Did you ever say what what is this? Why are we here?
my frame of mind was was gone. Like
No.
I literally was just like in the frame of mind. I had just lost my daughter. This has because I had a daughter in '99. So, and then she passed. So in my head, I'm like, how do you lose two babies? Like,
Mm,
how does this happen? Like my brain was trying to wrap my head around everything,
absolutely.
and 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 I was just distraught, like distraught. So when I went in there, I realized it was a closet. I did realize that, but I didn't even think at that moment anything else. I just knew they were about to bring my baby in there. So in
Hmm.
my head, I had to prepare myself for what I was about to see.
Right.
So they finally brought the baby in. The baby was wrapped. When I tell you the baby was wrapped, the baby had so much, it was like thick blankets on it. And that's all I remember is how many blankets. I don't know what the baby looked like. I don't know nothing else. I can't tell you nothing. I just remember it was a lot of blankets. I cried. I don't even think I held the baby for probably but about a minute. And then I handed the baby to my friends and they held the baby probably for a minute. We weren't in there no longer than probably 5 to 7 minutes. And then the lady came back, and mind you, it was only like a crack in the door, maybe that much, with a little light from the outside hallway in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the lady came back, she grabbed the baby, and she said, "You can go out to the left and just keep straight."
Wow.
So we got up.
So was it almost like you were on a time slot to see your deceased child? Like she was.
I I feel like everything was put in place for a reason. The dark closet, no
Mm-hmm.
light,
Mm-hmm.
the baby wrapped so well, the nurse standing outside the door, like waiting on us, like I felt like everything was in line the way they needed it to be.
Mm-hmm.
When we got up to leave, we walked out, and it's crazy because we walked out and we were walking like in a line beside each other, and all of us were wiping tears, and I said, "Were we just in a closet?" And everybody was just looked at each other like in disbelief, literally. So we got to the car, and I'm still in my head thinking, like, I'm a business person too. So when stuff happens, I immediately go into business mode. Like, trying to handle something I that I can control. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
No,
stuff that
for
I can't control, I try to find something I can control. So at this moment, I'm in funeral mode, trying to figure out what happens next. So I came home and I asked her dad what funeral home were we supposed to deal with. He told me. I called back up to the hospital. I told them. They said, "Great, thank you. We'll have them come pick her up." Um, and that was the last time I talked to the hospital for up until 3 days later.
okay. So you figure out the funeral home, they're going to get the baby and stuff like that. Um, when the funeral home gets the baby, what happens?
They called me and just told me the procedure basically. So they told me they had picked the baby up,
Mm-hmm.
and that who was assigned to my services, and very nice lady. And they then told me that I would need to start working on the obituary, and we were trying to plan the day that we would have the actual service, and whether I
Right.
wanted to do this or that, just the regular service stuff. So I was back and forth with the lady for probably 2 days, trying to get things together. And
Mm-hmm.
so at that point, I literally, because when she supposedly passed, it was on a Saturday. I went up there that Sunday. So Monday was business mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is open Monday. So
Yeah.
let's go. So I'm back sitting here with my assistant. We working it out. We trying to figure it out. The couple days pass. On the third day, I'm sitting at the table, and I know the hospital number because I called them several times, and when they called to give me updates, it was the same number. So I saw that my cell phone was ringing, and it was the hospital number. And so I just tapped to answer it on speaker. It was my assistant and myself. And I said, "Hello." And he said, "Hi, Miss Hunter. Is this is Dr. K. How are you?" I said, "Fine." And he said, "I'm calling to give you an update on Legacy." And I just kind of froze. And he said, when I froze, I guess he was like thinking I was waiting for him to go ahead and finish talking, right? So
So
he
he
just
wanted to give you an update as if your daughter was still in the hospital.
absolutely,
Wow. Hey, I am
absolutely.
too. Salute.
So when he said, "I'm giving you an update on Legacy," I froze, and then at that moment, it was like I'm just waiting to hear what he had to say. And he was like, Legacy is looking good. Her jaundice is coming. Her levels are coming down. We're gonna take off that light and put her on another light. the antibiotics are working. I think that he said the antibiotics work. Her blood level had, settled down a lot. He said that her oxygen level, they're going to take her off of that tube and put her on back on the tube that she was on. Like he literally, he said, I'm very optimistic for her now. He said I'm really optimistic, but the sound in his voice was like he couldn't wait to tell me. He was so excited.
So you're, because I'm trying to really get this understand. So you got a baby at the funeral home, and a doctor on the other end saying, "Hey, I'm optimistic about legacy." So you got a baby in the hospital and somebody's baby right here in this funeral home.
Yep. Yep. So when that happened, I guess I kind of just froze. And at that point, my assistant was like, "Wait, you told her baby was dead." And he said, "Is this Miss Hunter?" I said, "Yes." And then he just got quiet and hung the phone up.
Wow. Wow. So is that the last time you wasn't curious to go at that moment to see who he was talking about?
Absolutely. I call back to the hospital. I have my phone chart. I call back to the hospital so many times. Like they would leave me on hold and hang up. They would answer and say, "Wait a minute," and hang up. They were it was so crazy. I can't even explain to you how crazy it was. So finally, after hours had passed, and I mean hours, after hours had passed, a lady from another doctor from the hospital, the same doctor that pronounced Legacy deceased the night that she supposedly passed, called me. And she said, "Miss Hunter, this is Dr. Prefery." She was like, "I am so sorry I called you." I said, "Wait, you didn't call me." She said, "No, I called you." I said, "You did not call me. Dr. K called me." She said, "No, it was me." I said, "I know who I talked to. I know it was Dr. K." And so at that point, she got real defensive. So she said, "Well, your name was on another chart." So I said, "Where's my baby?" She said, "Your baby is not alive." I said, "Well, I want to see the baby." She said, My name was on another. My name and number was on another chart." And she said that it was another baby they were talking about. So I said, "I want to see the baby. I want to see the baby you're talking about." She said, "If you come up here, we're gonna call security and have you arrested."
Wow. Oh wow.
So at that point, I didn't know what to do. And it wasn't that I was afraid of being arrested. I was trying to it was so much going on that day. It was like I was just trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do? So I finally got a call back from an attorney, and she said that she told me to explain what happened. I told her what explained happened, and then she said that she was going to talk with me and try to figure it out. So she said, "Well, we first got to figure out what baby is at the hospital. I mean, at the funeral home." And I said, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." And mind you, I think I'm pretty smart, but I hadn't even thought, like, this was so crazy. I hadn't even thought about just calling the funeral home. I called the funeral home. When I called the funeral home, I had it on a three-way. Myself, my attorney, and the funeral home were on three-way. And I said to them, I said, "Hi, I spoke with the lady who was in charge of my services." I said, "I just got a call from the hospital saying my daughter was alive." And she said, "Wait, what?" I said, "Yes, they just told me that my daughter was alive." So she said, "Well, I don't know what to say. I've never heard, I've never dealt with anything like this before." And so the
Mhm.
attorney she stepped in and she said, "Can you go and see what child you have?" And so she said, "Sure." She said, "Can you take a picture of the child that you have?" She said, "If the mother gives me permission, I absolutely can." I said, "Yes." So she went, took a picture, came back to the phone, and she said, "Miss Hunter, can you tell me what you had?" I said, "A baby." She said, "No, no, no. What did you have?" I said, "I had a little girl." And she said, "Okay." And then she spoke, and we on three-way. She said, I feel like Miss Hunter is going through a lot as it is. She said, I don't feel comfortable with giving the picture to Miss Hunter. She said, can I send it to you and then you do what you feel you need to do? And so she sent the picture to my attorney. And my attorney immediately said, wow. And I said, wow, what? And she said, Miss Hunter, I'm going to go to the hospital, to the funeral home tomorrow, is what she said. She said, just trust me. Let me go to the funeral home tomorrow. So she went up to the funeral home and she took a picture herself. And then she came to me and, first she called me and she said, Miss Hunter, I'm going to have to send a letter to the hospital. I said, what is going on? And she said, well, I have a picture. I said, just send me the picture. Just send me the picture. So when she sent me the picture, clearly you can see genitals. It was a boy.
Real quick, Shonda, before we complete that, one of the subscribers said, which is my sister Good Sharon, she said they should have started, she said they should have done the CT scan first, then start the antibiotics. And then she asked, what was the dosage of antibiotics that they was giving Legacy? Do you know? Do you remember?
I do not. I just know that I saw in her charts that they had a special IV just for the antibiotics. So but I do not know what the dosage was or what it was. I haven't even looked at that part.
So now we got somebody going to the funeral home, taking a picture. Funeral home done called and said, what did you have? And you're like, I got a girl. But then you get a picture and we see genitals.
Yes, it's not only just that. The baby looks completely different from my child. We as Black people, when we die, we get darker, right?
Mm-hmm.
This baby was light, like darn near white. And it was longer than my daughter. It was look old. It had like a whole bunch of facial hair. My daughter didn't have that. The baby just looked completely different. And then it had genitals on top of that. So I knew for a fact that it wasn't, I knew for a fact that it wasn't my child as soon as I saw it. Now, going back real quick, when I told my sister, my mom and we have the same mother, my whole sister. When I told her the night that Legacy was supposedly have been deceased, my sister said verbatim that night, I don't believe it. And I said, well, that's what they said. She said, Shonda, I don't believe that. So now fast forward back to that day after seeing the picture, I was like, my sister, she's right. She was right. Like she was right. So at that point, the attorney said she was going to she was going to write a letter to the hospital demanding an immediate investigation so we can find out where my daughter is and find out what's going on. She wrote the letter. I went to the hospital. This was on, I went to the hospital on the 25th. When I went to the hospital to try to get my medical files, the lady in the medical record said, I can give you your files, but it seems that somebody's in the other section of those files and I can't get in them. They blocked me. And I said, what do you mean? She said, they're blocked. And I called my attorney right then. And she said she can give me mine, but she can't get in Legacy's. She said, Legacy's files are blocked. She said, I wonder why. I said, I don't know. So I never got Legacy's file that day.
Let me share this with you. Hold on, Lachunda. Mm-hmm. She said, King said they gave her baby Formula O, the people who lost their baby. I bet they have. She said, I bet. Have a DNA test done. Giovanna said, question, when did this happen? I missed that part.
February 2022. I gave birth on February 13th, 2022. She supposedly passed on February 19th, 2022. I got the call that she was alive and well on February 22nd, 2022.
Regina said, this sounds like those cases where they sell the babies to fake adoption. She said traded. She meant to say traded. She said they traded her baby, you know what I'm saying, to the people who lost their baby. That's what she was saying, traded, or whatever. Go ahead. So we now, your sister saying, I don't believe
Legacy's gone. So I didn't know what to do at this point. Mind you, we had already started planning a funeral. So we went to the funeral home to find out what do we do. The funeral home said that they didn't know because they weren't like they couldn't really give us advice. So basically, my attorney said we needed to take a DNA test. And I needed to pay for a DNA test. So it took us forever to find a DNA facility that would do it for us because they were like the hospital, everything was about the hospital. So we finally found somebody, but they couldn't do it for a while. They couldn't send somebody from Raleigh for a while. So the funeral home was like, I still had to proceed with the funeral arrangements. They said I didn't have to necessarily bury the baby right away, but I still needed to proceed with it because that's what, I had signed for and all that other stuff. So I told them I wasn't comfortable with burying somebody else's child and I don't want to, what I'm saying, I didn't know what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
they said to just have a memorial and leave it at that. And my attorney asked me not to say anything to anybody yet until we, got DNA tests and stuff back. So
Mm-hmm.
we all sat in a in a funeral home chapel, and they, the funeral went on, but the baby wasn't buried or anything like that. It was just like a memorial service for
So,
really for that baby.
so where's the baby at now?
Okay, so after on May the 5th, I got a phone call. Well, not May the 5th, May the 1st, I got a phone call from the funeral home saying the baby had just been left out too long. We can't keep leaving the baby out. And I have to do something with the baby. I was not going to cremate nobody's baby. I could not put that on my conscience. So I said the girl that I set for
Hold
legacy
on.
the baby.
Hold on, Lachunda. You're breaking up. Hold on. Can you hear me, Lachunda?
I can.
Okay, you was breaking up. Can you repeat that again? You said you didn't want to cremate somebody else's baby. Um,
Right. So I had paid for actual funeral gravesite for Legacy when I thought Legacy had passed. So I took that baby and just buried that baby in that area,
mhm.
in that slot. But I didn't put a headstone or anything on it because I don't know whose baby it is, and I didn't know anything about it.
So when you sat in the memorial, you're having a memorial service. What was like y'all in here with this feeling? She said, "My God, my heart goes out to you." Regina said, "I'm with you. I wouldn't have been comfortable either." What is y'all feelings? What is Are we crying at this memorial service? Are we just sitting here because we're still in confused? Whose baby is this? What is the real feelings and emotions sitting at this memorial at this moment?
So for me, and I can only speak for myself, for me, my emotions was I'm I'm just it wasn't mourning for a baby that I lost. I never felt a loss of a baby. I have buried my child before in 99. I know what it feels like to lose a daughter. I had a little girl. She was deceased, she was stillborn, and I buried her. I had a funeral and everything for her. I know what that loss feels like. This was a
Mm-hmm.
different, it didn't feel, I never felt that with Legacy at all. So when the
Mm.
doctor called back and said it didn't change my feelings because I never felt a loss. You understand what I'm saying? So when we were sitting in the funeral home, I cried, but I only was crying because I feel like I could have did something more to figure out where my child is.
Right. Mm. Mm. This is crazy. So you buried a baby. You finally come May. Is this the same year, Lashonda? The same year? Is this
Yeah.
May
Mm-hmm.
of the same
Yep.
year?
May 20. Yep.
So they say,
2022.
hey, we can't leave this baby sitting out. Um, you got to bury the baby. So you didn't actually bury him in Legacy's plot, just next to a plot
No,
next to
I
Legacy.
buried them in the spot that I had prepared for Legacy. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So
And
she
it's
said, yeah, so far I'm hearing the hospital was hiding something or some things, is what Miss Mugga said. Kim Green said, this is diabolical. Regina said, I hope whoever has this child is watching. I have a heart to reach out to the mother and give her back. Where do we go from here? We get the funeral done. It's still an empty spot that this isn't my child. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where do we go from there?
so I have been still trying to fight because we had nothing really to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally were trying to find trying to get my medical records. They were withholding my medical records from me for so long. And so for months passed, I mean months passed, and I could not figure out what else to do. I went into a deep depression. I felt like my hands were tied, like nothing was making sense. People thought I was going crazy
Hold
because
that thought, Lashonda. So now they don't want to give you your medical records, but I thought they said you
no
could.
legacy
Are you
medical
trying to get
records.
Legacy's
Hmm.
medical records? Okay,
Hmm.
go ahead.
So people, as I'm talking to people, people looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, is she just mourning, or is she just, what is really going on with her? And I kept telling them, like, I need the records. I can prove my child. I knew she was alive. So just so happened, May 5th, 2023, a year, exact year to date of the day that I buried the little boy, I got my medical records by mistake. I got them
Mm,
from my daughter by mistake. I have been calling. I have paperwork behind paperwork of when I requested the medical records for her. And I would never get it. I would get one page. I would get nothing. I would get 12 pages. I would get nothing. Like they would not send me the test. So what happened was I called my child. I called a supervisor, and I got a black lady supervisor. I was fussing. I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Keep trying to get these medical records. They ain't not sending them. She was like, hold on, I'm gonna send them right now. And she wound up sending them right then. And it's still not all of them, but it's a lot of it. And
mm-hmm,
so when I got those medical records, I felt so much better. When
mm-hmm.
I started looking at those medical records, it was almost like I had been justified for all the months. Like it was crazy. I saw that they were still working on her well after the date they said that she was deceased. I saw that they
Okay,
had
let's
changed.
stay there. Let's stay there for a minute. Time Warp said, did you ever get a blood test for the other baby?
I did, and it came back inconclusive.
Mm. Passion said her mother knows. Hey, adjusted. Um, she said, what happened? She said it came back inconclusive. Okay, so you getting paperwork now. Cause the black lady said, Chad, I got you. Let me get your paperwork. I'm so sorry about the delays. She sends it. And now they're still charting your baby
They
days
were
after
charting
they
her.
said she passed away. Oh
They
wow.
took her the IV they had that was special for just the antibiotic. They took
Mm-hmm.
that out on February 25th. To
Oh
remind you, she's supposed to pay us on February 19th.
wow.
They
Mm.
also changed her oxygen tubing out on February 25th. And then they also took her ET tube, which they use for feeding and stuff. They took that and changed that on the 25th.
Wow.
So a lot was done on the 25th, and I really think that when I went up there on the 5th, they were trying to change things then, but they just
Mm-hmm.
missed that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did have proof that they were still working on her.
Wow.
The other thing that came about was within that time frame that they were withholding her records. After I actually got her records, they sent me a bill for $151,000 and some change.
What?
They never, and I repeat, never filed Legacy's insurance at all.
Oh wow.
And you don't know any hospital that ain't gonna go after their money.
Sure ain't. You know they ain't. You know they
Right,
not. You know they going for theirs.
right. So they didn't file Legacy. My thought is they didn't file her insurance because they couldn't file it if they said she had passed. How could they how could they file it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they sent me a bill for 151,000. My attorney immediately emailed the hospital, was like, "Are y'all serious? Like, really?" And so they sent back another bill saying, "Oh, we took something off. Now it's only 83,000." And I said, they have got to be kidding me. And at that point, then too, we turned around, was like, y'all, this is crazy. And so now we don't even know what a bill is. I have no idea what a bill is.
Shut up. So they bill you, and now you don't even know where the bill is. Where we go from there, Alicia? Lachunda, what happens next?
We continue to look into the records. We filed a lawsuit. We did have enough to file a lawsuit. We filed a lawsuit. The hospital kept putting it off, trying to extend it. We're in 2024. They wanted to extend it to 2026. And the judge was like, no, she's been through enough. Like, no, we're not doing that. So in the meantime, between time, the attorney that I had, who was amazing, she got sick. And when she got sick, she called me and she said, listen, she's like, I'm really sick. She was like, I haven't really even discussed it with a lot of people. She said, but I'm not going to be able to continue with your case. I'll help
Mm.
you try to find somebody. And in Charlotte, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fear of the hospitals or what, but a lot of attorneys don't want to go up against the hospital. And so at that point, we were having trouble finding attorneys, and I'm currently in law school. So I was like, I represent myself if I have to. Like, I'm just going crazy. And so, long story short, we took a voluntary dismissal, which means it doesn't mean that we gave up. It means that we just asked for voluntary dismissal, and we had a year to go back and refile. And I had that year to find an attorney I was comfortable with and stuff. So I wound up reaching out to John Burnett, and
You'll need to unlock your
I'm
iPhone
sorry,
first.
and he
Hold
got
on,
me
you're
in
breaking
touch
up a little
with
bit. Hold on. I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me, Shonda? You're froze.
I can.
Okay, okay.
I can.
Okay, so you had a window a year to find another attorney. She said, Regina said, this reminds me of the Kamaya Mobley and Carolina White case when they couldn't get jobs when they turned 16 because of fake documents. This is sad. And Justice said, my heart goes out to all the mothers. I know all too well how it feels to be failed by these hospitals and losing children. She said, this is so mad. It makes my pressure go up. I'm mad as fuck. Okay. You connect with John. You got a lawyer within a year.
Yes, actually,
Okay.
it was at the last minute. Like, I had like hours before it was time for my year was up,
Okay.
and I was in touch with the attorney, and then we refiled the case and going forward.
Hmm. And where are we at today? Do you feel like everything is going well? Is there any more paperwork that you got? Did you get any in the process of getting John on the team? Did you get any more paperwork concerning your case, or did y'all even get paperwork concerning legacies?
Well, we've had a lot of people. I've had anonymous calls saying, that they were working at the hospital when this happened. This was over that year period, that I need to look into this and I need to look into that. When I went viral with Shankrock, I started getting a lot of calls from other mothers that this happened to. That's actually how I met Alicia. Other inboxes and stuff from other mothers that this has happened to. The hospital recently just sent me a letter, and I just took it out my mailbox. I lied to you not. I just took it out my mailbox on Saturday. It was dated for November of last year.
Oh wow.
And they said that I was selected, one of the people selected, to clear out any debt for Novant Hospital.
Not to clear out, you were selected to clear. I ain't never seen a letter like that.
I ain't never seen one either. I actually laughed at it because I feel like they just doing anything now because they trying to
Mhm.
cover up. But I've since then I filed for missing persons. I did an AR and reenactment to see what my daughter would look like now because we only have her baby picture. So to see, because I look at kids, like I look at kids now that could be
Mhm.
around the age of legacy, just looking at them trying to see, like, could that be her? Like, it's rough. It's mentally draining to go
Mm,
places and not know if you're looking at your child or not.
mm,
And so I have done everything I think I can possibly do besides just lose it. But I've been staying active. I've tried to put in legislation, a law, a legacy law, so that no one else will have to go through what we've been through. So that
mhm,
they can start correcting these mistakes and stop. And if they're selling babies or taking babies or whatever they're doing,
mm.
it has to be stopped. It has to be stopped.
It does. Tracy said, "No, where is the baby? Did they explain that? This is crazy and sad." Shell said, "Wow." Um, are you in process of getting Legacy's paperwork, or is it almost like she was non-existent?
I have what they said is her medical records. It's still some stuff missing, but I do have a great bit of it, and it's enough to, like I said, to file charges against everybody. My
Mm-hmm.
thing is, it's not a you can't put a dollar amount on your child.
Mm,
This is all I've ever wanted to do was be a mother, and I'll take nothing financially over top of having my daughter at home. And that's all I want is my daughter back. And I feel like, even listening to other people's stories, this could have been corrected. This could have
yeah.
We could have corrected this when they called me. They haven't said anything to me. I haven't heard anything from them. So that's it. I just feel like the way they're treating me is crazy.
Miss Mugga said they sent you a letter, but no baby. She said, "Where's this hospital at? You want to explain which hospital it is and where they're located?"
I went to Novant Presbyterian in Charlotte, downtown Charlotte.
She said, Tom Warp said some of these facilities have means to destroy chart notes. Look into the last doctor who called you. She said, Kim Green said, "I'm sorry this happened to you. I can't close my mouth. This is so crazy. I'm praying to God that He will step in and perform a miracle on your behalf." Right, Miss Mugga, what was the only Tia lady name that had a baby that day? She said, "I think her baby is alive and I pray that she will reunite." She said, "Shit's not adding up." She said, "Lachunda, I apologize to you for our failed interview. My phone caught on fire as I took a nap. How can we reschedule?" He said, "Hope we can reschedule our interview soon." This is Dana J, the one you were supposed to do the interview with after your
Mhm.
event last weekend. So he said he hopes that y'all can reschedule your interviews soon and stuff. So where are we at now with it? Like, we're going with the lawsuit, you know what I'm saying? You just had an event. Can you give us a little bit about the event that you just had this past weekend, which was awesome? Thank you. I felt honored to be
Thank you.
there and stuff. So can you give a little bit of insight about that event and what your expectations for that event was?
So the event was mainly to bring awareness to what's going on. Like I said, my inbox is flooded. I get at least one. I even got fathers inboxing me, not just mothers, but at least 1 to 2 mothers a day that inbox me and say that something similar happened to them and things like that. So it's not just me, but I'm trying my best to make me be the last one.
Yes.
So I've tried to adopt legacy law into legislation, and that's just basically something that doctors have to be more transparent with us. They can't hold our records for that time period like they did with me. They have to acknowledge that we're asking questions. They can't ignore us like they're doing with me. They have to come forward with what we're asking by law. These things need to be put in place so that this was not happen again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going 4 years now. I've missed my daughter's first walk, first talk, first everything. Those milestones I can't get back. She's bonding with somebody else right now, and
Mm,
I can't get that back. So if these laws were in place, they would have to answer me that day, not
right.
wait 4 years and answer it. So that's what the purpose of that was. We had local and state people come out, organizations come out, and they spoke. The panel was amazing, and they were very transparent, and they were also very intimate. Like they told their own stories, and I felt like they were being human. People get in positions and they no longer look human, and I appreciated that. And the other thing was, to find my daughter is costly. It's the upfront cost, not the after we get it. You know what I'm saying? We win, everybody get paid, of course. But for
Mhm.
every expert we get, they want their money then. The
Mhm.
facial experts, you gotta, even though we can see genitals, we still gotta prove that's a boy.
Mhm.
We still got to prove it's a boy, even though you can see the genitals. It has to
Mhm.
be a expert certified to say yes, this is a boy. They
Mhm.
cost, and because of the upfront cost, is what I was trying to do too. Just give awareness to the GoFundMe that I have in place, so that people can help donate to help get justice for Legacy and bring her home. I'm
Mhm.
hoping that every interview I do, every blog I do, every anything I do is somebody that somebody that one gonna touch somebody maybe hurt.
I agree. I think the baby I think Legacy's still out there. Dana J said, I believe the baby is alive. He said, and the house nurse would be the key to tracking Lachunda's baby. I said that too. I thought about the nurse instantly, especially the one that kept calling her at night and saying things. And Lachunda was like, well, they not charting that. Like, my baby is, you know what I'm saying, ain't gonna make it. They charting like everything okay, everything that's going in the charts is okay. And she said it only happened at night. So that kind of made me go back to that nurse that was calling at night for sure. I one day believe these mothers will reunite with their babies because they're gonna run DNA on accident. Mark my words. She said the
Mhm.
other lady knows she had a boy, not a girl. Return her child. Um, Shay, Shay said, I'm sorry this happened to y'all. My daughter was just missing and I went through it. Praying for your babies to be found. Shay, did they find your child? Is your child still missing? Because if so, let us know so we can start putting out things to help you find your child and stuff. So if you need our help, let us know. How you threatened to arrest her. I would have took the cops that day they threatened me. He said justice for Legacy. I don't understand how the funeral home didn't ask questions of the hospital at the beginning. Did you feel like that too?
I think the hospital was just as shocked as anybody else was, because they almost got away with it when you think about it. They almost got away with it. They really had that doctor not called me and said what he said, they would have gotten away with it. They would have, because I wouldn't have questioned anything else.
Mm. She said, Time Warp said, and I think you should note this or if you have it. She said that hospital is a teaching facility. Did any students ever come into contact with you?
I don't know, not that I know of. It was one nurse particularly that I do not like. As I looked at the chart, the nurses before her shift would have positive things to say, and then before it was all over, when she came on, everything was negative. Everything was negative. And so that's the only red flag I saw as far as the nurses. I don't know if they were students or not, but this lady I think had been there for some time.
Mm. I would definitely want her looked into. I would. Do y'all got the names of everybody that was on staff that night, or is your lawyer
Hmm.
gonna handle all
Yeah,
of that?
we do. We
Okay.
do.
She said, "What's the name of your GoFundMe?"
It's Lachunda.
You know how to
Let's
type it in the
see.
chat while you're up here.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Dana J said the house nurse handles all births and deaths for the hospital. I work at the most corrupt hospitals in the South, and I was just told to attack the house nurse. What you mean to told to attack the house nurse, Dana J? She said Shay said no, we found her and brought her home. Thank God. God is good for that.
Thank
She said
God.
she said police did nothing, so we took it to the news. She said that was God telling you something when that doctor called and hung up, Lashonda.
And exactly, I feel that too. And I feel like the reason why he didn't call me back, I feel like they waited because they were trying to convince him to call me. And he
Mhm.
had morals and said, no, I'm not calling her back. And that's why she called and tried to play my intelligence like I didn't know I talked to him. So I agree.
Um, where do we go from here with the you got the GoFundMe, you're now hosting events, which I think the next one will be successful, more successful than this one. We all have hiccups. We all learn from the first event what to do, what not to do, the setting, and stuff like that, which I think it was wonderful. I do. I love the speakers.
Thank
I love
you.
that you had the woman from the NAACP there, and stuff. Alicia definitely always shows up at every event for you and
She
Manila
does.
mother. So I love that too. I love the interaction and things like that. What's next?
Just to continue fighting to find until I find her. I'm not going to be whole until she's home. And
Hmm.
I just pray that somebody out there, anybody out there, would just say something, anything. They could be anonymous. Just tell me.
Okay. When Lachunda drops this GoFundMe, you guys text it to Shank too if you need to, and he can drop it in the chat um
Okay.
and stuff if you don't mind, because they want it dropped. And Sharon is saying, can y'all start dropping the links in the switching lanes chat as well as this chat? You get what I'm saying? She's asking, can y'all put it in my second on my second page as well? She said, Dana J said, you have to challenge everything the house nurse wrote. The other doctors have to go through the house nurse. That's the highest doctor in the hospital. Fact, she said they were paid. Regina said she feels like they was paid off or something. Shell said, wow, this is horrible. You can't trust doctors or nurses at the place you were supposed to go and receive help care. It's a sad. Um, he said, plus you have to know that the organ harvesting is big in business. I'm proud of how strong you are as a mother and not going about it the wrong way. Prayers. Hey, Misunderstood, what's going on? Shank Rock just dropped the GoFundMe, you guys. So there it goes right there. So, and Alicia, if you have one, send it to Shank as well, or you start yours as well. Lachunda, thank you so much. And Lachunda, what can the community do to help you with Baby Legacies? Journey, what would you like from the community, this community, the community in North Carolina all together?
Three things I've been asking for lately. One, to share my story. Just keep sharing it. Just keep sharing it. Just continue to push the story. That doesn't take but 2 seconds to share. Just share it. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing is if you can donate towards the GoFundMe, if you're able to. $1 would help. Anything. And the third thing is continue to pray for me and just anything you see, just share it.
Mm-hmm. And that ain't too much to ask. She just said if you have $1, you know what I'm saying? She just trying to find her long lost daughter and also to bring closure because there is somebody's son buried. These are two families that are affected by medical negligence in the hospital. And we're all and forever going to be treated as if we're ignorant, if we're dumb, we don't never pay attention. Can you sign right here? And we automatically sign on the dotted line. They say whatever to us. I need you to break that down. You know what I'm saying? I need you to break that down. It's good to even have a witness with you nowadays in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Keeping everything documented. Everything has to be documented. Everything must be documented.
And that's
Okay.
everything does. And that's another thing. If you see something that I'm doing or that Alicia's doing or anybody, if you can come out and support. The hospital is looking at that. They're looking at if people care, basically. If they feel like enough people don't care, they're going to continue to ignore us.
Mm-hmm.
But the more people that show up and show that they care and make noise and share and do those things, that shows that we're not going away.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Samad said a lot of these hospitals do have students. Sometimes you will see the students, then the doctor, and I'm glad Time Warp did bring that up at the beginning, Samad, and thank you for bringing that back up. UK University of Kentucky is one of those hospitals at home in Kentucky. It's full of students. That's where they train the students. You know what I'm saying? They got the college, that's where they go to school to learn this. And then y'all don't know how many times they don't left instruments and people's broke pieces off in the dentistry and people's gums and some more. It is horrific. He said, no, sis. The new thing is what I told everyone on Shane page. Do not autograph anything unless you have a lawyer present to explain legalese to you. And I agree. Hey, Galatians, she said, having a witness in every situation is a must now. People will tell you one thing and swear they never said it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but I'm here to support you, Lachunda, and me and my riders is gonna ride the legacy journey with you. I want to be a part of this. This is monumental to me because again, we watched those mothers, and I continue to say that we watched the hospital push this mother out while in labor. Another black mother got ignored while in labor, only to soon as they push her out of the room have a baby. Soon as they put the black mother out of the hospital, she had her baby on the side of the road. They are going to continue to treat us like this because we say nothing. We always wait to the end to say something, or we just feel like we just conversating like, girl, yeah, I remember that happened to me. We don't want that. We don't want that. I remember that happened to me. I remember when my mama passed on my daddy. We don't want this. We want this stopped. She said, did you ever get a death certificate, and was the doctor listed?
So I finally got a death certificate 2 years later. When
Wow.
I first went to try to go and get the death certificate, the lady just kept looking at me almost like she wanted to tell me something. She just kept saying, I don't have any death certificate. She just kept saying, I do not have a death certificate. And so when that happened, we kept going back because I had to open a state for legacy, because they said when you're in the midst of stuff like this kind of legal fee, you have to have a estate, because if she's alive, or I have to be over top of the estate. So I had to file legal paperwork just to do a estate first before I even filed the actual suit. So I did the estate, and in order to do the estate, you have to show proof of alive or death. And that particular time, they conjured up a death certificate. So I do have a death certificate. The doctor listed on there is the doctor that pronounced her deceased, and the one who swore out she called me that didn't. So yes, the doctor is on there, but it's still discrepancies even with the death certificate. So
Wow. They said, she said, what's your cash app? Shank, if you can send Shank your cash app. Lashonda, Miss Sharon is definitely one of those that like to help support movements and stuff like that. So we want to make sure we drop that. And Alicia, send Shank yours as well. Um, they said, we're riding for you, Shells. That's what I can do. I can tell you horror stories about the hospital. Mm. Yeah, 2 years later, y'all. 2 years later.
yeah.
Lashonda, thank you. She said, I don't think that students could pull off something um of this magnitude. I don't think it's so much of, but when you're training
Bless
somebody,
you.
the mistakes we can make, Sabrina. Not, she said that they wasn't charting anything, then they was charting. They was saying the baby's fine. We got nurses calling saying, hey, she's not gonna make it. So when one of my moderators went and looked it up, it was a student teaching facility. So we got to look at everything. We can't take nothing off the table. We might not think it, but hey, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We won't know until the end when everything gets figured out with Lashonda. But I will definitely keep y'all updated. I'll keep bringing her back when more comes out, and let them update y'all with the story to say what happened. He said, LaShonda, I'm going to tell you how to get them to ask for baby legacy's certificate of life birth. Okay, so this is what Dana J said. That's the one that wants to do the interview with you. He said he's going to tell you how to get them to ask for baby legacy's certificate of life birth. Do you have that?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Okay,
do
she
have her live birth.
okay. Hey, Steffi Jane, what you doing, Steffi Jane? I don't bitch flammable. I don't know what you're calling in for. I don't know what's happening. I don't even know you. I don't drop it on StreamYard. I mean over there on Twitch. I'm sorry. I thought a funeral home needs a death certificate before burial.
They do. That's all I can tell you. That's supposed to be
Okay.
law. But I didn't get a death certificate until 2 years later.
What's your question, bitch flammable? Students so mess up. She said I had 5 students in OR with me and I sued them as well. Yeah, Tootie. Yeah. I mean, we in a world now we can't say I don't think they could do that. Hell, do we think that the hospitals could take her daughter and send her, say her daughter is unalive, and write in documentation that we're charting that she's fine, we just changed this, we just changed that, and boom, give her a boy? Do we think the doctors could do that? And we talking about doctors versus students. I would blame some on a student versus a doctor. So anything's possible. You know what I'm saying? Nichelle said, wow, I'm just saying. She said, and do, okay. She said, I want to ask it on the phone. Can I call in first? Thank you, Lachunda. You guys make sure y'all hit her GoFundMe, okay? Make sure y'all hit her GoFundMe and stuff like that, please, and help her reach her goal to get everything that she needs for Baby Legacy. We want Baby Legacy back home with her mother as she should. And I for the life of me, LaShawn, this is just one of them stories. It just doesn't sound real. And it's sad to know that you're going in these stores and looking at all these babies like, is that my daughter? Could that be my daughter? Seeing resemblances and things like that, and just probably wanting to grab them like, you're mine. That has got to be one of the saddest things I've ever heard. And I remember seeing that movie on Lifetime, Switched at Birth. And it was one of the saddest movies. I watched it so many times, and it changed those girls' lives tremendously. It changed their lives forever. Dana said, so you have the certificate of live birth. Now ask for the authenticated certificate of death, long form. They're going to scramble, but keep your foot on their neck. So do you have that, the authenticated certificate of death?
No, no.
And Shankrock, can you continuously drop her GoFundMe link in her Cash App, please? She said facts. She said 2 of the students got married before my suit was complete. Like that would change anything. Wow. Wow. Um mm, Thank you, LaShonda, for sharing Baby Legacy
Thank
story.
you for
Like,
having me.
we're here for your journey. We're here for the ride of it. You're welcome to stay up here to support Alicia if you like. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to go, but if you have things, I know you got the other kids and stuff like that as well. But thank you for the invite to Legacy's birthday party, her 4th birthday party at that. Correct? Was it her 4th birthday party?
Yes. Yes.
Her 4th heavenly birthday party. That was on the news, and I appreciate everybody that's been coming out and supporting this mother, this sister, this daughter. This has to stop. I'm seeing so much medical negligence, and again, I'm so sorry this happened to you, Lachunda, but I'm here with you throughout this fight.
Thank you.
They said keep going. Figs, hey Fizz, what's going on? They said keep going. God takes care of all the babies and fools. You will be with Legacy soon. I believe in him. I believe God can do anything. They said my elders did not conceive of this one. They tell me the greatest pain is living on this earth after losing a baby, but this one is out of this world. May heaven dispatch all you need to get through. Thank you, Nichelle. Actor Dana J said, of course not, because Baby Legacy is alive. If they gave you a certified, he said, a cert of death, they would have to report it to the state, which they did not, because Baby Legacy is still alive.
Right.
And you will, thank you, sis. She said they begged for me to take them out of my suit because they were only students, but I don't care. That was my firstborn, and I play no games. And Queen, praying for you, don't stop. She said she's praying for you. She said they did the same thing to her. She's went
Yeah.
through some of the same things. And I would love to hear your story. I am Tootie. They're praying for you, Miss Parker's. They'll wait for you to request the DNA test for every baby that was born the same day. that was born? Oh, that's a good question.
We've had that question asked several times right
You're
now,
breaking
and
up.
I
You're breaking up,
end up
Shonda. We
moving.
can't hear you.
The hospital, we have requested stuff from the hospital, and they have not given us anything yet. We've requested that they keep all files, all documents, everything. They have not given us anything yet.
Mm, mm. Lashonda, are you willing to take any questions from the chat, like call-ins, before I get to Alicia's segment?
That's fine.
Okay. And I'm putting my band up. Yeah, I gotta put my band up because I don't know who's trying to call in and what they're up to, but I'm ready to block, baby. You hear me? I'm ready to block. Child. Get them all the way up at the StreamYard, block them from the chat forever, and some more. She said yes. Name everyone. She said yes. She said yes. Name everyone who played in the delivery. That's gonna be right there. That's gonna be that right there is gonna be something different. I'm trying to tell you, LaShonda.
Yeah.
That's gonna be different. What's going on, Nate?
Hello? Can you hear me? You need to let me out.
Got that word up out the way. Banned.
Okay.
Banned. That's the sick thing. We got so many sick people in the world, LaShonda. I'm sorry. Let me see what if this one is real. Let me put up my banner.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Oops, sorry, there's an echo. Let me mute your stream. Hey, how are you doing?
What's going on, cuz?
Hey, not much. Well, first I want to say congratulations on the cancer. That's a beautiful thing. But my question was, who do you think can save the Shardy, if you're familiar?
Oh, Lord. Okay. Baby, these people are weird. Yes. Come off of mute, Alicia. Thank you again, LaShonda, for sharing your story with everybody. She said everybody's name should be in the medical records and everything else. Hey, Dana J.
Hey, how you doing? Just real quick, what I was saying in the chat was Miss Lachunda, and she had to really attack the house nurse because the house nurse don't nothing happen in the hospital without the house nurse. And then from there, and you got to attack the attorney general of the state because if the hospital is not reporting correctly, that's medical malpractice. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, Dana. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's medical malpractice. And the thing about it is, and you got to look at the time frame of when it happened, and because organ harvesting is a big business, and they don't care if it's a kid, they don't care if it's an older person or younger person. Not to put that out there, but nothing can be taken off the table when it comes to this. And everybody involved, I agreed with that subscriber. Everybody involved had a hand in this, whether they indirectly or directly know about it, they all have to pay for it. And because at the end of the day, your pain is endless, Alachunda. You are sitting there and without your kid, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is where legal ease come into play. And because now, and you got to stop saying that's your kid. Because the minute you keep saying that's your kid, they're going to take you as a joke. Start saying that's my offspring. And because before they can label your offspring as a kid, you have to leave your afterbirth in the hospital and for 7 days, and then leave the hospital, which they're going to deem as you gave your offspring up. That's how they're able to label them kids. Like I was saying in the chat, I work for one of the most corrupt hospitals in the South. I work for Southern Regional Hospital. I was the officer on that call when that doctor came in drunk and decapitated that baby out of the mother's stomach. I was there for that. So So what I'm saying now is you have to take the steps and play the game that they don't want you to play, and because they think that you're ignorant and you don't know how to play it. But once you start shedding even bigger light, it's like attacking the attorney general. It's like attacking a house nurse. But they might call her for the resident nurse, but it's the house nurse. And excuse me, and even on down to everybody that was participating in like all the aides, somebody knows something. And right now, you need to attack everybody that was even breathing. If it was a roach in there, and you charge the roach too. Because now this is a game that they playing, and they saying, oh, we got another ignorant colored person here. They don't really care. No, you care. And like I was saying to you in the chat once before, I apologize if our interview, but I failed. But my work phone caught on fire when I was asleep. So I had to take care of that and do all that. But hoping that we can get one in. But however, I'm in the cause with y'all, with Shank, with Miss Lady Parker, with you. Let's go ahead and turn up the real heat on these people, and before somebody else fall to this. That's all I'm saying. Can I thank y'all for having me up? I'm going back in the chat. I thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. Was that good information for you, Lachunda?
Yes.
Okay. She said, do the hospital have camera footage from the day of the delivery? Because that's God. Could they go back?
I'm sure they do, but
that?
again, I'm sure they do. The problem is we have to the judge has to make them turn over that stuff. They haven't turned over anything yet. We've asked for all kinds of things. They haven't turned it over yet.
Okay. They said, would the house nurse and the charge nurse be the same?
I'm thinking that would be the same person.
Okay. She said, I didn't know about the afterbirth. Yeah, me neither, Nichelle. So I appreciate the insight, Dana J. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Lachunda. Alicia, welcome, sister, to the panel. He said, they're not. He said, no. He said the charge nurse and the other nurse aren't the same. So that's good insight too. Thank you, Dana J. Alicia, welcome to the panel. Another sad story of medical negligence. Another mother in need of answers. Alicia, tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
I would first like to say thank you for having me. Thank you, Lachunda, for joining and supporting me. On 10/23/2017, I gave birth to a baby girl. My water had been broken for a few days prior to, but I had been sent back home where they had told me I was fine. It was nothing going on. On October 23rd, I am so sorry. I have to mute this. This is someone calling from the state.
Okay, go ahead. Dana J said the charge nurse is for the floor. The house nurse runs the whole hospital.
Okay, I missed that call. So on October 23rd, my mom came in the house and found me unresponsive, where my blood pressure had shot up, my fever shot up. My water had been broken for so long, my body was beginning to react to it. EMS was then called. I was transported to New Hanover Regional Hospital during the time. I was admitted into the hospital. During my admission, they told me that my water did not break. I mentioned it to them several times. They told me that my water did not break, but they admitted me into the hospital. Later on that day, they had told me that they had wanted me to have a emergency C-section. I then was refusing the C-section. They came back later that day. They informed my mother that if I did not have the C-section, that it was not going to look good for Jocelyn. Um, so I then agreed to have the C-section. After the C-section, I gave birth, of course, during the C-section. They immediately took Jocelyn out of the room. They didn't let me see her. Um, I wasn't allowed to visit her because I had a spike fever. Um, so they did like an isolation between me and Jocelyn. During the time, I was calling down to the NICU, checking on her. It's muted.
So you're telling me that you never got to see your daughter. You never got to see Jocelyn.
No.
Once you had your daughter, you never got to hold her, see her, nothing. Wow.
They rushed her out of the room. I asked to see her. They ignored me and took her immediately out of the room. Um, go, Going
Go ahead.
forward, I was upstairs in mother and baby. Jocelyn was downstairs in NICU. My mom was kind of peeking her head in and out, but not really there consistently. Um, Eventually, the non-consistency kind of affected me, and I asked that she would no longer come back to the hospital or be allowed in the hospital for my own personal reasons. Um, on day 6, they called up to my room and they told me that Jocelyn was not looking good. Um, at this time, I just began to beg the nurse or the doctor, whoever was on the phone, to please save my baby. Please save my baby. Um, the lady that was on the phone, she just told me, "Okay, we're gonna do all that we can. We're gonna do all that we can." Hung up the phone. I began to pray. Later on that night, about maybe 10 or 11, um, a doctor came in the room with a wheelchair and told me that she had needed me to come downstairs because Jocelyn was not looking good. I went downstairs. They placed Jocelyn in my hand. During this time, I did not know that she was in transition. They just placed her in my hands. About a minute or two later, told me that she was gone. Um, I
So,
remember just
so
holding.
let's take it back. So you haven't seen baby Jocelyn. Shank Rock, Alicia and Lachunda, really quick. Shank, if y'all have like Apple Pay or some other way of payment, because she doesn't have Cash App, but she's trying to support you ladies. If y'all have another form, if y'all could text that to Shank Rock so he can drop that into the chat for the ladies and the sisters. And sisters, thank y'all for supporting these sisters. Thank y'all so much. It means everything to me, and I know it means more to them. So I appreciate that. So, African Queen, be looking for Shank to drop other forms. Alicia, make sure you send it to Shank too. Bella baby, what it do? What it do? Hey Joe, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. Hey Sissy, what's going on? Nathaniel said, "Wow, that's heartbreak. Reminds me of my daughter. Would love to come on and share." Okay, Nathaniel. You're welcome, African Queen. I appreciate you and your support. So you ain't got to never see the beautiful angel that you brought into this world at all.
No,
Your mama's popping in and out. Did she get to see what Jocelyn looked like popping in and out? Did she
she
get a
did.
visit?
I asked her to take pictures for me, take plenty of pictures, take plenty of pictures. She took a good amount of pictures.
Okay.
I was expecting more, of course, a mother who has not seen their baby. I want a billion pictures, but she got a decent amount of pictures for me. So that was good enough.
Okay. So then now let's get back. Okay, so you ain't seen a baby. Are you asking questions like, hey, when am I gonna get to see my daughter? When you know what I'm saying? What's going on? What's happening? how do we get to them coming to get you now in a wheelchair to say what? Like what's leading up to them coming to get you in a wheelchair to take you to the next step of Jocelyn's life?
So they were saying because I had a spike fever that they wanted to isolate me and the baby. They couldn't figure out what was going on with me, and they didn't want me to pass anything to Jocelyn. I kind of already figured it was because my water had broken. It's been broken for so many days, and there was nothing that could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my body was just reacting. Again, on night 6, they came upstairs and got me with the wheelchair, took me downstairs. Aaron Schofield placed her in my hands. Again, a minute and a half later, told me that she was deceased. I then hung my head low. I was in pain physically and mentally at this point because I myself had a C-section. It was an emergency C-section at that, my first C-section. So this pain was kind of different.
Let's stay right there for a minute. Something that captured me with y'all stories is the C-sections. Because when Lachunda first aired her story, she was saying how they wanted to do emergency C-section. She was like, no, like they gave her no reason of why she needed emergency C-section. And then, boom, you call Shank with your story, and I heard the same thing, and I was like, am I tripping, or did they not say these two mothers who never met before are saying that they're telling them? So I'm really trying to like I'm just my thoughts. Is this an African American thing of how they get us to get our children, to take our children, some way to come up with, hey, this happened during the C-section and the baby's not good, or you know what I'm saying? It's something to where they keep wanting to offer C-sections, and then boom, they got Lachunda with no reason. You're not giving me a C-section without reason. Is the umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's throat? Is it this? Is it that? But they're not saying any of this to you guys at all. It's odd. It's strange. For you, I kind of get it because you said your water had broke days before you even went into physical labor. Am I correct with you, Alicia?
Correct. But they
Okay.
kept telling me that my water was not broken. So
Oh,
at
wow.
that point, I was confused as to why I was getting the C-section if my water was not broken.
So, so did you have the C-section?
I did.
Okay. So Alicia ends up having a C-section. Okay. Did they say Jocelyn was sick or anything before they just come and get you in your room, will you down, and hey, your baby gone? Is this what you telling me that happened?
Yes, so they called me earlier that day, told me she was not looking good, that she had an infection. Um, Later on that night, the doctor came and got me and took me downstairs, placed Jocelyn in my arms. Um, you could tell that someone must have told her to tell me because she looked up behind me and then she looked at me and said, "Okay, she's gone now."
So where did they bring you at? In the wheelchair, where did they bring you?
They took me downstairs to the NICU to Jocelyn's room.
So they took you downstairs. Hold on. So they took you downstairs to where Jocelyn was.
Yes.
And it was it at first she wasn't, so the nurse, you said she looked at you as if when
She
she
looked
looked at you.
behind me because
Uh-huh.
I was down in the wheelchair. So she looked behind me and then looked at me and said, "Okay, she's gone now."
What happens at this point, Alicia, with you? What happens?
My heart was just torn. Of course, because it was my first time seeing my baby, and now they're telling me this is my last time seeing my baby. Um, Again, I just hung my head low and asked them to take me back upstairs to my room. Because at that point, what could I do?
Did they ever come and say that, like how they did Lachunda, like, hey, Jocelyn's running a fever. Jocelyn, we think she's got a infection. Jocelyn's got a cold. Jocelyn's got jaundice. Did they ever say anything like that? Like anything, or even was you checking the my chart to see what was happening with the baby or anything?
During this time, I was not checking my chart. I do not recall that being available to me. Um, I remember calling, getting updates from downstairs. Again, I was very sickly after giving birth. I spent about 2 days in the ICU myself. Um, then being transported downstairs. So I was very sickly during the time.
Okay. So you finally get to see Jocelyn, but that at this time Jocelyn's deceased, correct?
Yes, they're telling me that she was transitioning and then told me that she transitioned while she was in my arms.
And you never knew what happened to baby Jocelyn. What
No, they
caused?
told me that she had an infection. Um, of course, I figured that the infection came from me assuming that my water had been broken all those days, and maybe she caught an infection from inside the womb with my water being broke.
So we got two mothers up here, kind of similar stories, C-sections, and now we have babies with infections all of a sudden. Did they explain that the infection came from your wound during birth delivery, during delivery?
They did
Or
not. They weren't clear on where the infection came from.
what happens next? So we got the baby. Jocelyn she's transitioning to she transitioned, which is crazy. And it's sad. Y'all stories are so sad. Cause again, we're in this place and we're at this place where they're dumbing y'all down so bad, like treating y'all pure ignorance. As if y'all don't I mean like immediately. Um but Alicia said she was, she did have the C-section. She's not doing well herself. What happens next, Alicia?
Um, I go upstairs to my room. At this point, I'm just talking to God, and I'm like, God, I trust you. Um, if it's meant to be, it'll be. I still trust you. I trust your plan. Um, the next day, they came up and asked me about funeral arrangements. I then began to look into funeral arrangements. I called around to a few funeral homes. Um, I did not have the money during the time to cremate or bury Jocelyn. I did not have the support that I needed. Um, so I informed the bereavement lady who came in to talk to me about it. After that, that was kind of it. Um, I stayed in the hospital for about 8 days after. Um, no one ever came to me and said anything, questioned me, let me know that the county would help me cremate. Nothing was said. So I end up getting discharged, leaving the hospital without my baby, without
So
any plans.
when they let me read a couple of these comments because I don't I'm so like can't believe what I'm hearing. My water leaked for a while before I went into labor, which caused my baby to have an infection. She was on antibiotics too and put into the NICU for like 8 days. Tracy said, I feel so bad for these women. Nichelle said, we need a buddy system. We're not safe in a hospital alone. I agree, Nichelle, 100%. So they tell you that baby Jocelyn is gone. You say nobody is saying anything to you about like what's the next steps with burial of Jocelyn, anything. And they just send you home with nothing.
with nothing. They just discharged me. The day of discharge, they gave me a box with like the hat she had on, with some hair. Looks like that was cut off. Um, with
Wait,
her feet.
wait. I get the hat. Did you say her that they cut off?
Yes.
Shank just dropped a petition for Baby Legacy. We will be having a petition for Baby Jocelyn as well. These mothers are working together to get everything rolling for you guys. But the petition for Baby Legacy is in the chat. And again, Alicia's working on the things that she needs so we can help her push justice for Baby Jocelyn as well. Um, Hey, Lashina, what's going on? Off topic. I love goodness. I love her and that a child in the background, pure joy. Yeah, I think that's both of their households actually. They both got some beautiful kids. Where did her come from? Like, did you even question that about the her? I wouldn't know how to. Y'all did so much better than me.
I, I I think I just looked at it more as like a token to show like, um that they cared and to give me everything that was left of Jocelyn, or that they could give me of her. Um so I just kind of, I wasn't in a space to really think about where the hair went or where it came, I mean where her hair came from.
Yeah.
I was just more focused on, I done spent some time in the hospital. Um, I knew that my baby was no longer alive at this point. Um,
Mhm.
Again, I was thinking that they were just looking out for me and just giving me things that could be a token for my deceased baby at this point.
Mhm. Mm.
Um, Going forward, I had a baby last year on 10/4/2025. And someone in the hospital came to me and said, "Hey, um, I see that you had a deceased baby boy." And I said, "No, it wasn't a boy, it was a girl." She said, "Well, I'm pretty sure I seen what I seen." I said, "Well, she wasn't a boy, she was a girl." She said, "Well, I see that the baby was fighting. So I'm confused as to what happened." So I told her, they told me she caught an infection, but I'm not quite sure. Um, she then began to tell me that something just quite didn't look right. Um, so I began to tell her, I was kind of getting a little agitated with her telling me that it was a boy that she seen in my medical records. So I was like, "Well, why don't you just go look at the death certificate?" Like, and she went to go look for a death certificate. She didn't see one.
Well, let's
She,
stop right there. Let's pause right there. And Kim Green said they just signed Tracy said she signed the petition for Baby Legacy. And you guys give Shank a few days to drop Baby Jocelyn's link too. And I'm pretty sure that will be on his community wall as well. You guys, please sign, get those signs up, okay? She said, I had a C-section. Night nurse kept coming for baby, making excuses as to why. She said the trash guy was trying to take trash out. An alarm went off. Long story short, my baby's identity bracelet was in the trash. Wow, Kim. Wow. Um, so you're going to have your new baby. They said, "Hey, we got some medical records. We know you had a deceased child, and it was a boy." Where did like did you ever see that like on paperwork for yourself, Alicia, or this is just what she's saying?
no, I'd never seen it for myself. This is what she was saying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but she even went back to look again, and came back to let me know, hey, I see that it was not listed as a girl. He was listed as a boy.
And was the name the same and everything, Alicia?
So upon trying to find the death certificate, when we weren't able to locate the death certificate, we tried to find the birth certificate. I reached out to our county looking for a birth certificate. We could not find one. That, of course, spooked me. The lady from the Register of Deeds was able to reach out to state vital records. And when she did, Jocelyn's name was misspelled. It was not spelled the way that I spelled it.
So it was a certificate of birth, but was the first and last name misspelled or just the
No,
first
just
name?
the first name. Just the first
Okay.
name.
But it was a certificate of birth.
There is a certificate of birth.
Was everything else correct? The date that you had her, everything else correct as far as you know? Just they just spelled her name wrong. Okay.
Yes, the first her first name was misspelled.
Okay, so we get into the paperwork now. We know that you didn't have a boy, that you had a girl. What else did you find out in the process of finding out about this misleading paperwork that's now saying you had a son, not a Jocelyn?
Right. So state vital records then get in touch with our county register of deeds. The lady from register of deeds, she emails me and say, hey, we found a birth certificate, but there is no death certificate for Jocelyn. I then start to panic. There was something in my spirit that was just very unshaken about it. I had just had a baby, so it was very mind-boggling. We did as much research as we could during the time. Still, there was no death certificate. Going forward, back in January, I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see Lachunda's story, and I start freaking out because I'm like, this isn't just happened to me. It's happening to her too. There's more people this is happening to, more women. Well, I reach out to Shank, was able to tell my story. Then I start backtracking. After I have my interview and tell my story, I then go to medical records to ask for Jocelyn's medical records. The lady at medical records tell me that there's 12 pages of Jocelyn's medical records and that they can't give them to me because I don't have a death certificate. That I would have to reach out to corporate to receive these medical records.
So you gotta have Lachunda, was you told the same thing about baby legacy that you have to have a death certificate to get? Because I never knew you had to have a death certificate to get medical records. I thought once you're the parent,
You
you signed for those records. Go ahead, Lachunda.
you don't have to have a birth certificate, I mean death certificate for any records, but that's what they told her probably to stall her. The same numbers is funny to me too, because they gave me 12 pages one time too, saying it was her records for legacy. So for them to say she has 12 pages is funny to me. So
Yeah, Lachunda, that's crazy. Alicia, I know you was like, I gotta have a death certificate to get her records. Go ahead, Alicia. This is just mind boggling.
So the lady accepted the birth certificate and told me that I would have to get them from corporate. So a few days go by and I don't hear anything. I then reach out to corporate. I just so happened to stumble across this number. I was doing research, stumbled across this number, got someone on the phone from corporate. Really nice guy, was very speedy with it. I asked him, I said, hey, I requested my daughter's medical records. I haven't gotten them yet. He says, oh, you haven't gotten them because you didn't pay for them. So I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't she have me pay for them if she knew that they would need to be paid for prior to sending them up to corporate? So he allows me to pay for them over the phone. At this point, he immediately sends them to me, and I start going through Jocelyn's medical records. During this time, I discovered that in my medical records, it says POD 6, which is 6 days after I gave birth of my surgery, that she passed away. But in Jocelyn medical records, it says 7 days. I'm constantly going through, I'm seeing a lot of discrepancies. I get to the end of Jocelyn's medical records, and I discover that an audit was ran on Jocelyn's medical records. I then start reaching out to Medicaid to figure out why this audit was ran. It looks like maybe the audit was ran, and I'm not exactly sure. There could be several reasons why the audit was ran, including there not being a death certificate. But they kept billing Medicaid after they said that she was deceased.
Wow. And how long did they kept like? So they don't. So your baby's deceased. So they say they're still billing for medical care for this child in the, not you, but the baby.
Right, right.
How long did this go on?
They actually started billing Medicaid on October 1st, 2017. Jocelyn was not born until October 23rd, 2017.
Wow. So you mean they backdated it?
They backdated.
Wow. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alicia.
And the ending period was October 31st. So when I spoke to Medicaid and gave them Jocelyn's Medicaid number, she explained to me that there was 2 periods that were voided out. So it looks like they tried to bill from October up until April, and then from May until October of 2018.
So not only did they backdate it from the month that you had her, they went to the first. And then you mean to tell me they went to the next year to April or May?
Yes. They went all the way through until this was from 2017 all the way up until October 2018. They were billing Medicaid.
Wow.
So I'm looking through the medical records, and the doctor that came and got me, I discovered that she was a resident, meaning that she was a trainee during this time. So again, I'm looking through medical records, and I'm looking at all the attending doctors, but Aaron Schofield is not listed as an attending doctor. But in medical records, in Jocelyn's medical records, it's saying that she pronounced Jocelyn deceased.
Oh, wow.
So again, I'm doing my research. I see where this is a hospital that allows trainees to come in. I don't know if I should say this or not. But what I discovered is there's a such thing as a research collaboration and neonatal transportation team. And what this team does is they go to hospitals that accept universities or whatever the case is. They study these critically ill babies to see what they can do to help other premature babies in areas. So they basically experiment on these premature babies. And so during the time this program was in the building, not only were they in the building, but they were a part of the team that was on Jocelyn's team.
Wow. One second. Time Warp said them facilities play games. You are supposed to be able to get your medical records anytime you request for them. Michelle said it's a huge discrepancy, huge. She said that is, and Time Warp came back and said that is Medicaid fraud at its finest. She said they were doing a retro request for payment. That's how they're going to explain it. So let's get back to this training. So when Time Warp said they be having these students come and train, you're basically saying that the people that came in when you delivered Jocelyn was almost like what she said.
Correct.
Okay.
The doctor, the MD during the time, which is Aaron Schofield, when you Google her,
Go ahead.
she has no ties back to Wilmington, North Carolina, which means she could have been a resident during the time. Um, so with her being a resident, that's why she's not linking back. Now, however, going forward, I see now where she is the co-director of this neonatal transportation team.
Mm. And Alicia, can you send me her name?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, make sure you message me the name. So now, so she wasn't a part of the medical records, but she was in Jocelyn's, not yours.
No, she was not in mine, but she is listed as the doctor who pronounced Jocelyn deceased.
Did she care for you in the labor delivery process, or what happened?
I do not recall her being there.
Okay. And why did that stand out to you? This particular doctor, why did it stand out to you?
Because I went back and I'm looking at the audit, and it's telling me who was audited, what time and date. So I'm seeing others that were audited, but Aaron Schofield was not audited. So that then raised a red flag. Started doing my research then. Come to find out, the doctor who was actually over the residence program, an audit was ran on her.
Mm.
The doctor who was over the residence program, not
Mm-hmm.
the actual resident, which would have been Aaron Schofield.
Mm. That's wow. Oh Lord. Mm. It makes me not want to go to the hospital and do a thing. All this corruption going on. What anything else that stood out to you in Baby Jocelyn's paperwork with the 12 pages that was given? Because there is more pages, correct? Or is that all they gave? Is that it?
So there was not just 12 pages. When I got the medical records from corporate, there was 360 pages.
Wow. So why didn't you receive all the pages?
I did receive all the pages from corporate, but medical records, the lady at medical records was refusing to even give me the 12 pages.
But you did get all 360 now.
Yes.
Okay.
So when they gave me the 360, they actually accidentally gave me the audit. So when I talked to someone from CMS, which was like, they have contractors go out to audit the hospital or audit the facility, she then explained to me that I actually was not supposed to have that paperwork. It was accidentally sent to me.
Mm. And what's the explanation? Okay, you got it. And now what?
I don't know. Someone told me just to be careful because I may not be allowed into her records anymore because they accidentally sent me those records.
Mm.
But I've already printed off the records, and I have them in my possession.
Let's go. Anything else with all those pages? Because boom, you get those 12 pages, you see so many discrepancies. Anything else?
Those 360.
So you got the 360.
Yes, I never received just the 12 pages.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. She said it's a lot of fraud going on in this case. It is. Anything else that stood out to you with Baby Jocelyn in these 360 pages?
They pronounced her time of death at 12:28 a.m. It looks like they were charting her acuity level at 3:30 in the morning. From my understanding, means the amount of care that she needs. So, which means she would have needed a level of extra care, like one-on-one care, because of the levels were so high.
Mm-hmm. So they pronounced her. Do you remember the time, or was you just so out of it that you don't remember anything?
About the time.
Yeah, for them to say, because is that a discrepancy? Did she not pass at that time that they wrote down, and you remember another time?
I I remember them telling me I could have sworn it was on October 28th. Records say 10/30, October 30th. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm to the point now where things are kind of hazy because they're
Mm-hmm.
saying one thing and I'm like, well, I thought I could have sworn I remembered this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn it was October 28th. The morgue even told state that they have October 28th that she was deceased, but again, Jocelyn medical records say October 30th.
Who else said October the 28th?
The morgue at the hospital.
So why would they lie?
He just admitted to the lady at state that there is some discrepancies in the record.
Wow. This
Going,
is this is weird and it is sad. This is scary.
it is scary.
So he
Going
just
forward,
go ahead.
now the morgue is not cooperating with state. State is asking for these for the death certificate or possibly what funeral home came and picked up my baby. They can't say, they can't provide a death certificate. Um, Again, they're not cooperating. I do have a detective from the police department now involved. Senator Mike Lee over District 7, his office is now involved.
Good.
I have you all involved now. So that's where I'm pretty much at.
So the morgue is not answering, not
No, they're
responding, not
just shutting down.
cooperating. Wow. This is crazy. Like, I mean, Alicia, this is mad wicked right there. Like, I can't even believe what I'm hearing. I know we talked and I didn't know it was this gruesome. Valerie said that the pediatrician over the residents is also liable. She said the
So
way.
so an audit was actually ran on her. Um, who was over the residents?
Mhm.
They ran an audit on her as well. She was one of the ones who were.
Oddity. Mm. This is crazy. This is and you know, to do what they done, it definitely leads down the line of, are you the only mother that has had this happen at this hospital? And I don't mean them charging the medical. I mean altogether. Are you the only mother that has I want to look into this. Text me the hospital, the year, everything, Alicia, so I can get my team to look more into this hospital to see reviews. I want to look at the reviews. And have y'all ever did that? Have y'all, either one of y'all, ever went and looked at the reviews of these hospitals and things like that, to see if anybody else has said anything? Because sometimes people do leave reviews, and that's how you find out certain things about places. So I was just wondering. She said the way this was handled is atrocious. Fight on a sweet soldier. She said yes. She said Bree is needed. This doesn't add up. She wants me to get Bree. Yeah, I would love to get Bree to come over and definitely ask about Alicia's case for real. I don't like that. Does anyone know how we get the results of the audit? She does got the results. You do got the results, don't you, Alicia? She must be on the phone.
She'll let me answer for her. She's waiting on the results now. They did the audit. She's reached out to CMS to pass the results on to her.
Okay.
They're actually looking. She's waiting for the contractor who ran the audit to see what his results were, but I have not heard anything back.
Okay. Mm. So you got the detective, which is good. You know, how did that come about? You getting the detective on? Because that's new to me, and I'm so proud of you for taking all the steps that you took, watching Lachunda and what she was going through, and took that initiative to say, "Hey, I want justice for Jocelyn too." What got you to go to the detective? What led you there?
I hired a private investigator. He then let me know that we needed to reach out to the SBI. I kind of overstepped my boundaries and reached out to the SBI myself. They didn't let me know that I needed to reach out to the police department to have them look into things, and then they would step in, following them if they could not get information that they needed.
Mhm. Valerie said yes, there's definitely fraud there's she said yes, there's definitely fraud cover up going on. She said that's good that they did audits because they suspected wrongdoing. Sharon said stay on their necks because now they're doing damage control. They're going to be exposed. Hey Betty, what's going on, sis? Yes, I think they're going to be exposed. Alicia, what's your next steps? We know that Lachunda had an event. Are we expecting an event coming up that you're going to put together for baby Legacy and her? Baby Jocelyn. I'm sorry, baby Jocelyn and her journey going forward, and what can we do as a community to help you going forward? She must got some phone calls. She got the baby. I know
Could you
y'all.
repeat that one more time? I'm sorry about that.
Um, I want to go back into something else before I go into this question. Let me ask you this. Where do you that she said babies? She said black babies are sold on the black market. Let's kind of go back a little bit. Um, they never did have a death certificate for your baby.
They
They
never had a
never,
death certificate.
and they never told you if they cremated your baby. Nothing. It's like your
No.
baby never existed.
So by law, if a body is left unclaimed at the hospital, they will then contact the county. The county will then try to contact next of kin to bury or cremate. If they cannot find anyone at that time, they will have a funeral come out, and they will ask them to cremate the baby. They will have it paid for. Um, I was never contacted by anyone as Jocelyn's next of kin to see about what could be done. Um, I never. I reached out to the county DSS. Um, they never paid for Jocelyn's cremations.
Wow.
Um, I reached out to the funeral home they're in contract with. I spoke to the funeral home director. He told me that he did not cremate Jocelyn. In fact, he would have never, because she didn't have a death certificate. Because he also has records to access to vital records. Um, he let me know that he does not know what funeral home would in fact cremate a baby or any person without that death certificate. He let me know that you have to have that death certificate.
And to this day, we don't have a death certificate.
To this day, we don't have a death certificate. Wow. To this day, they cannot produce one. And simply because we all know they don't know what funeral home picked up the body, where she was cremated, or if she was ever even cremated. I did reach out to an investigator at the hospital. He informed me that it's possible that my baby could have been given to a third party. I said a third party. Who's a third party? Like what third party? And he said the third party is a church. And I said, well, what could a church want with a deceased baby's body? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes they'll cremate. I said, without a death certificate? Um, he then kind of got irritated. He said, well, if anybody's looking at criminal charges here, it's not us. It's the funeral home. I said, well, of course, if she was ever even cremated, because right now there's no record showing anything, just the hospital's word.
So you get told that a church, a third party, a church, even Samad just said it. She said a church, girl. And then he automatically brings up if any criminal charges, y'all need to take it to the funeral home Whoever said something about criminal charges. What did
I
that?
mentioned criminal charges
Oh, you did.
to get
Okay.
their attention. When I first called the investigator, I let him know that it looks like concealment of a birth, concealment of a death, or
Mm-hmm.
misuse of a corpse.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So we still have no death certificate for baby
Still no
Johnson.
death certificate. Um, Attorney Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, his office is aware that the hospital is not cooperating with the state. They're now looking to see what their next steps are.
Somebody said, right, where's the proof that the hospital even gave your child to the funeral home?
Correct.
There's no records. So we have no records that this baby was given to anybody at this point.
No. It was like she just was pronounced deceased and then her body just vanished.
Wow. What can we do as the community? Are you starting a petition for baby Jocelyn? Are we looking in the future to you having an event, hosting an event, and you let everybody know where you are, where this happened at too, Alicia. Let them know where this happened and what's to look for in the future. Look forward to in the future.
Yes, I do plan on starting a petition for a Jocelyn's Law. I'm still quite looking into things, how I want to go about it, because of course, Lachunda is starting one, and I need it to be a bit different from hers.
Mm-hmm.
We are having a press conference meeting on April the 8th down in Wilmington, North Carolina, in front of New Hanover Regional Hospital at Novant. Now they are named. Um, I do plan on going forth, getting some kind of event awareness brought forth to my hometown. Um, so far as what can the community do to support me, it's just stand up with me. Um, I'm alone in this thing. Besides your team, the team that you have right now, I'm kind of standing alone. So I need that support. I need others to stand up with me and say, this isn't right. What can we do to make this right? Where's the death certificate? We need answers. Just come together with me and support with what's going on, the movement we have going on. Um, like Lachunda said, share videos that you see, any interviews that you see being done, share them. Um, and prayers, just prayers. Um,
Mm-hmm. Do you gotta go for me? Said so you said Wilmington, North Carolina, right? On the 8th.
that's correct.
Okay, let me put that in the chat really quick. I'm putting that in the chat. If you're in the Wilmington, North Carolina area on April 8th, Lachunda would love, I mean, Alicia would love, look, I keep saying Lachunda, I keep getting everybody mixed up. Alicia would love to have you guys to come and stand up. And what time is that on April 8th, Alicia?
If Lachunda could, um,
Okay.
I know
We
that
have,
her and Shank are putting this press conference together.
yeah, we haven't set a time yet. It's most likely going to be between 11 and 12, though.
Okay. Let me put 11 and 12. But this is just to give you guys if you guys are in the North Carolina area close to Wilmington on the 8th, we will be up there in support of Alicia. I know Lachunda's going to be there. She's really been helpful through Alicia and her process, and I'm so proud of these sisters for getting together to do that. Nichelle said, "You are not alone, baby girl. No, not on our watch." Um, I'm sorry, Laquanda. YouTube does that sometimes. It's not the moderators, it's the YouTube. She said, "We are standing with you, Alicia." She said this is wrong on so many levels. You do need a death certificate, and it should also been in the vital records. She said no paperwork for transport either,
No,
Alicia.
no, none.
Wow. And Shank Rock did drop the ladies' cash apps down there. If you do have Cash App, I don't know if he dropped any other source of payment. If you guys would like to donate to these mothers, these are both mothers who are in need of answers. We want to help them get the answers. If not even help them with that, we want to stand beside each one of these mothers and other mothers to come to let them know they're not alone. I hate that Alicia feels like she's alone. I'm there with your sister now. You stuck with me like gorilla glue, okay, baby? Just know that.
And Lachunda has let me know that on numerous occasions. She let me know that I'm her sister and I'm stuck with her to the end. And I'm really appreciative and grateful for both of you all.
Yeah, I love Lashonda too. She stuck with me as well. Both of y'all are. You know what I'm saying? I just let y'all get on Shank's nerves for now, but I'll be getting on y'all nerves soon. She said, did the lawyers ever mention anything about a class action to bring others with similar cases for mistreatment from them instead of just you?
I do not have a lawyer as of yet. I
Okay.
have been reaching out trying to find a lawyer. I have been unsuccessful.
And if y'all know any good lawyers, y'all, please hit me up. Let me know if y'all know she needs an attorney. Okay. She needs an attorney. So if y'all know anybody that can help Alicia, please can we get that ball rolling and help this sister get an attorney for this case? Her baby deserves justice. They said, are these ladies in the same state and was it at the same hospital? Lashonda's happened here in North Carolina. Go ahead. You explain Lashonda and then Alicia, you come in with one of
Mine's
your.
is in North Carolina in Charlotte though. Alicia, you want me to finish it?
No, you can finish.
Okay. Alicia's was in Wilmington and the hospital now is Novant as well. Novant brought them out shortly after Alicia's incident. So both hospitals are under Novant care now.
Alicia, she said Time Warp said, what is the county name?
New Hanover County.
New Hanover, sister. Yours is Novin too, right?
Yes,
Uh
it's now Novant. It was New Hanover Regional Hospital. Back in 2017, it actually was county owned. Then in 2021, Novant bought the hospital out.
my sister Sharon, who's always hands on with anything I got going on, she said, sweetheart, just know you are not alone in this. She said, I can't be there physically, but I will be praying.
Thank you.
She said, what's your cash app, Alicia? Hold on, Shay put it in the chat. Did any of the mods catch the cash apps? Do you know how to type in the chat even though you're up on the panel?
I don't.
Text it to me real quick, Alicia, on Messenger, and I'll drop it in the chat. Yours is at Novon too, Lashonda, correct?
Yes, mine's is Novant.
Oh, child. Oh, I never thought I'd live to see this day. I must say to y'all. I it's certain things that I didn't think that I would ever even be talking about with people in real time. Like I've heard people say, this ain't the first time I've heard people say, hey, the hospital did this. I don't think the hospital was supposed to give me that medicine. And she said, so under the same umbrella, so to speak. Yes, Nene. I've heard people say, yeah, the hospital, I don't think they should have gave me this medicine and nobody ever do anything. Like we just be like accepted of it. You know what I'm saying? And now that we have y'all on board saying what they done to y'all, this is cringing and scary all at the same time. I can't believe I'm witnessing this. I can't believe I have two mothers. One that has to go in a grocery store and potentially walk past her child every day or every other day. And then we have another mother sitting here like, I just want to know, where's my baby? I want to know what happened. Where's the death certificate? Who, you know what I'm saying? I just want that closure. She said, drop the hospital's previous names again, please. Alicia texted to me real quick the previous hospital. You mean Alicia's hospital, right? Because it's Novine now, but I'll drop it in the chat. Time Warp's ready to get to work. If she's asking questions, Sister ready to get to work. She's ready to make some moves and check some shit out. Cause I'm telling y'all, I bet by today's end, Time Warp is gonna have so much like, hey, this happened. Look, she said yes. She said she's gonna have hey sister, this happened. The same situation happens. That's who keeps me up on like things. Like I'll hit Time Warp up like, hey, had check and see if this has happened before with cases that I'll be looking at. And she's like, yeah, and she'll go down the rabbit hole for me when it comes to trying to find justice, what we can do to make things better. And I appreciate that. I did drop Alicia's cash app right there, you guys, if y'all want to bless these mothers and stuff like that. Alicia is got a baby in the house, so that's why she's up and moving around. She does have young ones, and so does Lachunda. So their life still goes on. It doesn't stop. These are still mothers who have to care for their children that's abroad. I want to ask both of you a question before we get out of here. And again, I love y'all so much, and I love y'all strength and y'all courage to go, considering that y'all both have children in the home. How has this affected y'all mentally? And has either one of you guys noticed that the village just isn't villaging? Or do you have a village? Start with you, Shonda.
Oh, I thought we was gonna start with Alicia.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you.
How has this affected me? Uh, it's hard for me personally because, like I said, my children are my children, but I did adopt. So it's hard for me to, in the beginning, I kept saying, Lord, I'm fit to be somebody else's mother that didn't come from me. So why would you take a baby that did come from me? So I was in that state of mind at first. And then I went from there to the state of mind that I still have to be a mother. I still have to get up every day. I still have to mother. I still cannot let my children go by the wayside. I will say though that for the first year and a half after this happened, my kids missed out on me because I just did the necessities. I was not present because I was going through so much. So to get back into the swing of things and to work and to try to make normal of things, even when it's not normal for me, it's been really hard. With anything, just like people say, when people die, everybody come, and then once the funeral's over, you start seeing less and less people. That's the same thing with this. I at one time, nobody even asked me for a long time about legacy. And then when I went viral again, it came up again. And even people that knew in the beginning were like, I didn't know this happened, or I didn't know this, or this is the first time I heard this. And it's so funny to me sometimes because I've been talking the whole time, just nobody's been listening. So I think that the village, I have a strong handful around me. And I was told, you don't look supported. I can't make people do things. I just tell people all the time to put yourself in my shoes. What would you do? Who would you need? What would you want people to do? So those are the things that I tell people to look at when it comes down to accepting help or needing help or, things like that. I know all the stages. That's why it's easy for me to be there for Alicia because the stages I'm watching her go through. And I've told her many times that I was in that stage. I saw that stage. So it's like to watch somebody else go through the stage that you're going through. That's why I got legacy law, because I don't want anybody to have to go through those stages. Those stages are some of the darkest days in your life. You're crying, you don't know why you're mad, you're angry, you're at peace, then you're angry again, you hear things, you think you see something. It's just all kinds of emotions. And it's one of the hardest things that I have ever been in my life. I have beat cancer. I have had seizures since I was 9. I have had buried my first child. And nothing compares to this feeling I've had these last 4 years. So it's hard. It's very hard. It's even hard sometimes when people acknowledge you, because their emotions is their emotions, and because they're listening to you and they're seeing you, but nobody understands this is reality to me every day. This is the reality I live in. And it's a hard reality, especially when you wake up and everybody's still depending on you. So it's a hard reality, and it's hard, and that's why I say it doesn't take but a second to spread it. It could be you to spread it, to share that video one time, and it lands into the right people, that neighbor next door to that child. And then, it could be any of that. But you never know if you don't take that 1 second. And that's part of the village. The village doesn't always have to just physically show up. The village can spread the news. The village can do things outside of just showing up. And that's what I need.
Oh, girl, you got me up here crying too. I'm trying to
I'm
hold it in.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. I'm sympathizing with you guys so much right now, and I got so much empathy and sympathy for y'all. This is hard for me. Alicia,
Um,
be transparent, sister. Let us know.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Your wants
Um,
and needs.
I want to first just say I truly thank God for Lachunda. Lachunda, God first has been holding me up, but He placed Lachunda ahead of me for whatever reason. And there's days where I'm finding things. I'm just having a bad day, and it's one of those moments where I'm screaming because I found something that's just blowing my mind, and I'm reaching out to Lachunda, and she's keeping me afloat. Um, on top of, you hear the young ones in the background, so I have little ones. Um, so just the grace of God and Him placing people like Lachunda in my corner. I don't mean to cry. It's okay. But um, other than that, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Other days are harder than others. Some days are easier than others. But I'm getting there. And like Lashonda says, the village doesn't have to physically be there.
Mm.
Just showing up. Just showing up. And again, I thank God for the team. I thank God for Lashonda. And I thank God, of course, for His grace. Um, there's days where I'm getting up, I'm making breakfast, I'm doing mom duties, and I look back through the day and I'm like, wow, I did all of this and I don't even know how I did it, but it was done. And I know it was nothing but God who gave me the strength and the grace to hold me up through the day to get me through another day. Um, Uncertainty is the biggest thing, just not knowing. Wondering if Jocelyn is really deceased or wondering if she's alive and she was traded off.
Mm.
That's one of the things that is really mind bothering to me right now. But again, um, and I'll say it over and over again, God's grace.
Mm. Y'all got me emotional, I must say. Cause it's like I was just saying this earlier. It's like when we wake up and it's like a woe is me day. It's somebody out there that don't got their child, went through something like y'all, looking for y'all babies, and the system that has failed y'all, the system that continuously fails our melanated people. And I'm glad that God brought y'all together because it is through God. Um, I'm glad that Shank does the work that he does to get y'all over there to tell y'all story, because it's other mothers out here that's going through this. They just don't have a voice, or they don't have the feel like they have the village to stand behind them and support them through this process. Because I know mentally. And with y'all having children and y'all both got small, younger children in y'all homes, this is a lot. And y'all definitely need a village behind y'all. And I know me and my team, we're definitely here for y'all. We're gonna support y'all through and through till we get answers, until we get baby legacy home, and hopefully and pray we get the right answers. Is Jocelyn still living? We want Jocelyn's closure for you as well, Alicia. And I'll do everything in my power to keep fighting for y'all, signing petitions. If I gotta take a petition around to get it signed and explain the story over and over and over and over again, I will. I will be there in Wilmington, North Carolina. If you like to join us on April the 8th, I will keep y'all up to date with the times and stuff like that. Also, with Lachunda's events here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're in the area, if you're just in North Carolina and want to get away, but come and support a greater cause and a cause that has to be supported because they're going to keep doing this to us, not just medical negligence with babies, all kinds of medical negligence are we dealing with on a daily they're just missing their babies and they deserve answers. The community deserves answers. Their family deserves answers. We cannot keep allowing them to do this. And they must be stopped. Lachunda and Alicia, you have the village, you with the riders. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They said, girl, you're blessed to have stayed in your body. You are a champ. I love you, Alicia. I do. You have a new sister within me. Lachunda, I love you. I do. And you have a new sister within me. I see a movement in the future. And I told Lachunda that at another event for baby Manila, I'm going to have her mother on here too to talk about medical negligence with her daughter. Her daughter made it, but she will forever need medical attention due to medical negligence. Hey, Shanta, what's going on? Her story is horrific as well. And I think that's at Atrium. Ain't that at Atrium, Lachunda? At Atrium down here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to bring her on next. But I see the village that's being created, the voices of mothers. And I see something big coming out of this from the both of you in the future. And I think it's going to change the world tremendously. And I don't think it's going to just start trend with getting answers for medical neglect. I see something big happening with both of you, with other mothers, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the future. I'm loving baby legacy's law. Let's get a baby Jocelyn law passed as well. And Lachunda, I see you being a big sister to all of these mothers. I do. And I love that. And I love that you are helping Alicia. I love that you are rocking out with Manila. And these mothers come to events that's not theirs. The conferences, guys, the news conferences. Alicia got her babies in buggies, baby. Wrapped up in blankets and buggies, coats and scarves. Lachunda was out there with her son. It was beautiful to see. And this wasn't even their news conference. It was baby Manila's, but they showed up and showed out. They showed up and showed out. Yes, Wardrick. Yeah, that's a Wednesday. So I appreciate y'all so wholeheartedly. Y'all got my number. Alicia, I'll send you my number in a minute. Lachunda definitely has my number, but I'm going to text you my number in a minute. Y'all keep in contact with me. Keep me up to date because I do want to bring my chat updates on what's happening with you guys. Like I said, events, if it's a news conference, anything, and my people want to be in attendance or I just want to cover it live and stuff, I want to support you guys that way. And thank you guys again for joining me today. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having us here.
If you guys have a Facebook page, if you guys have Instagram, please share this story for them, not for me. Share it for Lachunda and Alicia. They want answers. They deserve answers. We want to help them get the answers that they deserve. Again, if y'all know anybody, a lawyer, Alicia is in need of a lawyer at this time. She got paperwork and stuff like that. She's been in contact with people. She's moving mountains to get answers for Jocelyn. Is there any additional source of for updates, a website, an advocate's website, anything like that? Lachunda, have you thought about doing that?
I haven't. I'm not really a big social media person. I have like Facebook and stuff like that. And normally anything that happens, I just put it on my page and that's it.
Let me do would you both of you mind if I get one of my sisters to get a website going for you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay. I'll be doing that. Michelle, I'll get in touch with LaShonda and them later, but I'll keep y'all up to date with the website, and it'll be everything will be passed over to you, LaShonda. I just want my sister to get connected with you so she can help you with that if that's okay.
Thank you.
And that way y'all can post all y'all events and y'all ain't got to call around, do flyers here, make sure anybody's passing, it'll be right there. Everything will be right there for all of you guys. I think that would be awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much to the chat. Anybody that purchased a super stick, a super chat, a membership. Thank you for anybody that donated to Alicia and LaShonda today. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure that they do. I will give you guys a call later and salute everybody. Everybody continue to have a blessed Tuesday. I gotta go pack, you guys. I'm going to DC. So yeah, gotta go get this
Have
backpack.
fun.
All right. Salute everybody. Y'all have
All
a
right.
blessed day.
Bye-bye.
Salute.